Hey, welcome back to Spirit Music Meetups. Mike Burris here. SpiritMusicMeetups.org. Great place for you guys to learn together. And I have to reach for that because I want to make sure you can see me through here. Doing some drum set videos for you so that you can ask, seek, and knock and receive some revelation yourself. I'm just passing on revelation that I've had over the years. Asking the Lord, is there a better way to do this? And books are very scarce and scant and on the information that they provide. So we want to go beyond the books. There's some good videos, but please share your ideas down below on the comment section. And this video looks a little crooked, so I'm going to straighten it out for you a second here. How about that? Okay, so we're going to do talking about how to break down a beat so that you can learn it faster. You know, we only have so much time in our lives. We need to make the most of our time. And so I asked God, what can I do to make this easier for myself and for my students? So what I'm going to do is when I look at a beat, I'm going to draw a beat behind me. I'm looking at the timekeeper, and there's many timekeepers for different genres, and I have a great website out there on the drum tab. You can look. It's not this one. It's Spirit Music Meetups. And I'm going to play, for instance, an eighth note beat. 1 and 2. And I'm not going to do any rocking. That's what this piece of tape here is for, so you can play on the tape. And I'm going to just go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and there's 8 of them. So in 4/4 time, that is eighth notes because there's 8 of them. Each one is 1/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Each one is 1/8, so it's 8 notes. So I'm going to keep the timekeeper going, and I'm going to practice 1 inch at a time, 1 slot at a time. Whatever's in the 1 slot, the 2 slot, the 3 slot, and the 4 slot. What do I mean by that? Well, 1 eanda, that's all inside the 1 slot. 2 eanda, anything that's in there is the 2 slot. I'm going to practice 1 slot at a time, and I'm going to build muscle memory each slot. So I'm going to memorize slot 1, so my body gets used to it. Then I'm going to go on to slot 2, memorize that. Then I'm going to put 1 and 2 together. The reason I'm doing this is there's a transition going from 1 to 2 that you might have a problem with. But you've already memorized 2, you've already memorized 1, so it should be easy to go 1 to 2. Easier, so you'll spend less time. And then I'll memorize 3, and then add that to 1, 2, and 3. I'll show you this. And then memorize 4 and add it to 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going inch by inch. So instead of doing the whole yard, the whole beat, all 4 counts, I'm doing 1 slot at a time, 4 pieces, and that is cinch by the inch. So instead of hard by the yard, I'm going cinch by the inch. So here's just like 1 and. That's the timekeeper. Now, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do this again very progressively. God tells me a lot about being progressively, moving forward systematically. I'm going to just work on what the bass drum has to do in the 1 slot. Let's say the bass drum is 1 and. Well, I'm going to do that with the timekeeper. 1 and. 1 and. So I'm going to memorize that. 1 and. 1 and. 1 and. So I don't have to think about this after a while. So that's pretty easy, but it might not be that easy. So then I'm going to look at what my right hand and my left hand do. Maybe the left hand is on the count E. 1 E and. 1 E and it's soft because it's an E or an O. 1 E and. 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 Notice I'm using my mouth to tell my body, my mind, what to do. You got to get used to counting. That's left brain. To move your mouth moves your brain, which moves your body. Trust me, I've looked at this many different ways. So saying 1 EN will program your mind to program your body. 1 EN, 1 EN. Now I'm going to look at the left hand and the bass drum together playing a melody. 1 EN, 1 EN, 1, because that's the bass drum part, right? Remember? 1 and 1 EN, 1 EN, 1 EN. Notice I'm keeping the left hand down. 1 EN, 1 EN, 1 EN, 1 EN. So now I'm going to keep this. That's just a counter. 1 and 2 and 1 EN. See, now I'm telling myself what I have to do. 1 EN, putting this together. 1 EN, 1 EN, 1 EN, 1 EN. See, I'm practicing each piece. 1 EN, 1 EN, 1 EN, 1 N, 1 N, and then I put it together. 1 EN, 1 EN, 1 EN, 1 EN. And I do this at least 8 times. Notice my right hand's not playing really high up, because in most beats you don't want that to be too high and too loud. So I'm building control. So I really memorized what happens in the one slot. All right? So you see how I did this. So now I'm going to turn around here and we're going to write this out. So I'm over here. See how far I can get over here. So I can go up to here. So what we did is we worked on the timekeeper 1 and. All right, hope you can see that. Maybe not. And then, yeah, you can see that 1 EN. Maybe I need to lower that so you can see that. 1 EN. Yeah, you can see that. Got my glasses on. Make sure that you can see that okay. Nope, you sure cannot. Sorry, guys. I'm going to erase this for you. All right, we'll get this right. So, this is the beat. 1 and. That's your right hand. RH. And you practiced your timekeeper with your bass drum. I think that's usually why I always start with the bass drum. And you counted 1 and. It matched. Now, we can do a lot of different things here. Then, what I did is I practiced the right hand. This is developing 2-limb coordination. I practiced the snare drum. It's hard writing live. The left hand. Opposite if you're left-handed. We don't play on 1 and. We played on the E, right? In between the hands. 1 EN. So if you don't know rhythms, there's lots of videos out there on rhythms. So I practiced the left hand. And then I took this out, the X's, the right hand out, and I practiced the bass drum. Boy, this is a mess. This is not a good, sorry about that, guys. Can you see that okay? So I just took the X's out and played the bass drum on the bottom, the snare drum in the middle, and the bass drum. Bass drum, snare, bass. 1 EN. And then I finally put it all back together into that. So I hope that made sense. I'll put this all down in the description so you can see it. So then I go on to the next rhythm. Let's say the next rhythm is you're still playing your timekeeper 1 and 2 and I got a snare drum on 2. I'm going to put the backbeat snare drum on 2, And let's put a bass drum here on the because there's only, 1, 2, E, and that's all you have to work with right now. So I'm going to put a bass drum there. So if that's how you do it, that's the total thing. Again, we're going to practice the right hand and the bass drum. So it's 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. See, that has got to fit right after that end. 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and So I'm saying what I want to play, and I'm saying it as I play it. So then I work the right hand and the left hand. 2 and 2 and. Now 2 is not quiet. Usually it's accented. 2 and 4 are the backbeats in music. So it should be up here. 2 and 2. So make sure you rebound right back up. 2 and 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 2 and. So I created memory of the whole thing. I skipped a step, didn't I? What step did I skip? I skipped. I did the right hand and the bass drum, the right hand and the left hand. 2. I didn't just do that. 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and. I said the whole thing, but I only played that. I should have also gone to another step, seeing if you guys are watching. Left hand and bass drum only. 2 and. No, it's not an and, is it? 2 and 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 2 and. Okay, so make sure you're coming in after the and So then I've memorized that. I memorized this. And hopefully that memory is still there. Let me pause this. We have a malfunction on the screen. All right. Sorry about that. Can't plan for everything. So now, hopefully, this is still in my memory. Let's just check. It says 1 E N. 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 Now here's the transition problems. That's in my head. This is in my head. 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and So here's the transition problem. Something we didn't have over here is that this E has to go up to come down here, doesn't it? That E has to go up. So sometimes you're going to learn something new going from one thing to the next. 2 E and, right? 2 E goes up and 2 E and. So really the E goes up. 2 E and. Sorry, it's 1 E and, right? 1 E and 2 and 1 E and 2 and 1 E and 2 and 1 E and. There's the first part. Got the E up. 1 E and 2 and 1 E and 2 and Now, do I hold that 2 down? Well, we don't know what's over here. We don't. So it could go right up. We don't know yet. So practice it both ways. 1 E and 2 and 1 E and 2 and I held the 2 down. 1 E and 2 and See, now I pull it up. 1 E and 2 and 1. Now start down here. 1 E and 2 and 1 E and 2 and 1 E and 2 and So I'm pulling it up this time. So then we go to count slot 3. And let's say we got something like this. Really hard writing sideways, isn't it? So we got 3 in. Let's say we have a bass drum on 3, right? 3. And let's say we have a snare drum on E, it's like over here, but also a snare drum on and let's say we also have a bass drum on So we used all of them up, so we got to extend that second bar all the way across, 3, E, and So we used them all up, but the right hand is still just on 3 and. All right, so now we got to remember, we got to play this. We got to get that in our memory. 3, cinch by the inch. I'm going to go 1 inch at a time. 3, 3. Oh, no, that's not what we're going to do. Haha, seeing if you're checking. We're going to do the right hand and the bass drum. 3 and up. 3 and up. 3 and up. Wow, isn't that the same? No, it's not the same as that. 3 and up. 3 and up. 3 and up. So I'm going to get that 4 to 8 times. Now I'm going to do the right hand and the left hand. 3 E and 3 E and. Now I'm going to put an accent on the and. Now, you don't have to, but usually if a snare drum is with your right hand, it's underneath your right hand, it's probably loud. So the and is loud. 3 E and 3 E and 3 E and 3 E and 3 E and. So now you see that left hand has to go up on the E to come down on the and. So memorize that. 3 E and 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 3 E and. Now I'm going to learn the left hand and the bass drum. 3 E and 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 3 and So I'm using my mouth to focus my brain to coordinate my body. So I did every combination of 2 things: right hand, bass drum, right hand, left hand, bass drum. Now I'm going to put it together. And I'm going to do it just like we're doing this, cinch by inch, left to right. I'm going to go 1 stroke at a time. 3, E goes up, and bass drum. 3, E, and 3, E goes up, and 3, E, and So I'm going so slow, I can't make a mistake. 3, E, and 3 E 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 and 3 3 E and 3 E and 3 E and 3. Okay, so I created a memory. Now I could start all the way back here, go to here, and go to here to put all that memory together. But I'm worried that I have a transition problem in here, going from here to here. So I'm going to remind myself of that memory and then practice going into my new thing. Let's go back to here. 2 and 2 and 2 and 2 and Now, hey, do you remember? We got to know what to do with this left hand. Does it go up? Remember, we didn't know what to do with that. Well, when's the next time it plays? Right here on this E. That's the next time it plays, and it's quiet. So we're going to keep it down we're going to keep this down, that 2, because it's going to play soft on the E. So now we solved our question whether that was going to stay down or not. So now it's 2. It stays down. 2 and up. That's our new memory. 2 and up. 2 and up. 2 and up. And then I'm going to go into it. 2 and 3. E goes up and So I reminded myself of this memory. Let's remind ourselves of that memory. A lot of talking, forgetting things. 3E and 3E and So now I'll go back to here. 2 and 3E and 2 and 3E and See how I'm remembering everything that I do. 2 and 3E and The reason why I'm going one step at a time is the way we play as drummers is we always are looking forward to what we have to do. And we try to make this memory so we don't really think about it much. All we're thinking about is the new thing coming up. 2 and 3E and 2 and 3E and 2 and 3. 2 and 3E and 2 and 3E and Did you hear I made a mistake? Got to get rid of that mistake right now. 2 and 3E and 3E and 2 and 3. 2 and 3. 2 and 3. I'm practicing the transition. That's my problem. 2 and 3. 2 and 3. 2 and 3. 2 and 3. So I'm working on my transition problem here. If you make a mistake, you got to stop right away. Don't keep plodding forward. Stop right away. Go slower. Get rid of the bad memory. Put a new memory in its place. The correct memory. So now we've got to go. We've added this to this, and we've created we figured out this transition problem. I practiced it, and now we have a new memory. 2 and 3 E and Now we got to go back and add the memory. 1 E and, but that E goes up. 1 E and, 1 E and, 1 E and, 1 E and. Go back and remind that. 1 E and, 2 and 3 E and 4. Ha! Let's go slow. 1 E and 1 E and 2 and See, I held that 2 down. 1 E and 2 and 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 So I'm really getting that back in my memory, right, with all the everything we know we just learned. Now we're going to go on. 1 E and 2 and 3. 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 So I'm just got to there. I'm just moving my way through. I add some more of that memory. 1 E and 2 and 3 E. 1 E and 2 and 3 E. So I raise the E up. 1 E and 2 and 3 E 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 and. So I'm creating memory step by step, going back. Now I'm going to get all the way from here to here. 1 E and 2 and 3 E. 3 E and 3 E and 3 E and. Here we go again. 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 1 E and 2 and 3 E and. Now add the 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 1 E and 2 and 3 E and. See, I'm just reinforcing that memory. and 2 and 2 and That's really cool, isn't it? Now, let's go on to the fourth beat, the fourth slot, okay? 4 and. All right, what are we going to do in there? Well, let's do something fun. Let's not put anything in the 4, except maybe opposite of what we normally do. We normally put a snare drum in the 4. Let's put a bass drum in the 4. Isn't that cool? And let's put a snare drum on the end. And we'll even open the hi-hat on that end. So that's nice and easy. And that open hi-hat tells us, hey, we're at the end of a phrase, we're going to start a new phrase. So let's work on just the 4 slot. Was it? 4 and open the hi-hat. 4, 4, 4, 4 and 4 and 4 and 4 and that and is going to last until it comes down here. It's going to close here. That's the way it normally works. So let's work out the transition. We know this is loud and it comes down. This is loud. That snare drum's loud. So that has got to go back up. So that goes back up. So that's tricky. 4 E and 4 E and. That and comes in. 4 E and 4 E and 4 E and 4 E and 1. 4. I'm sorry, a 4. 3 E and 4. 3 E and 4. 3 E and 4. 3 E and 4. So I'm working the transition, the memory. 3 E and 4. 3 E and, right? 3 E and 4. And 3 E and 4. 4 and 3 E and 4 and 3 E and 4. 4, 4, 4 is closed. See, I have to learn this. I'm trying to do this from my memory because I can't see the whiteboard. 4 and 4 and 4 and 1. 4 and 1. 4 and 1. 4 and 1. Because 1 has a bass drum. 4 and 1. 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 So that's the idea of we're memorizing the 4 slot. We're memorizing the 4 slot, learning how to transition back to the beginning. 4 and 1. 4 and 1. 4 and 1. Now we learn how to go into that. Let's just start from here. And that and has to go back up. And 4. And 4. And 4. And 4. And 4. And 4. And 1. See how I created a memory? And a 4. And a 4. And a 4. And 1. And 4. And 1. And 4. And 4. And 4. See how I brought that and back up? And 4. And 4. And 4. And 4. And 4. And 4. If you do that long enough, you'll create a memory. And 4. And there's the ring. 1. And 4. 1. Then we'll go a little bit further back, going into the problem. 3 E and 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 4 1 3 E and 4 right? So we're going into the problem, going into the problem, going into the problem. 3 E and a 4. 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 I guarantee you, if you do that 8 to 10 times, you will have muscle memory. Well, I'm only doing 3 or 4 times and getting some memory. So we worked into the problem, transitioning, learning how to get over to here. 3 E and a 4 and 1. 3 E and a 4 and 1. And then I learned how to go from here to here to here. 2 and a 3, right? 2 and a 3. A memory. I'm pulling from old memories. 2 and a 3. 2 and a 3. Notice how I hold the 2 down. So I put an arrow there. 2 and a 3. So ready? 2 and a 3 and a. 2 and a 3 and a. 2 and a 3 and a 4. See how I just keep going further and further out. 2 and a 3 and a 4 and 1. 2 and a 3. 2 and a 3. 2 and a 3 and 2 and a 3 and a 4 and 1. 2 and a 3 and. See, I made a mistake. Drill in the correct memory. 3 and 3 and 3 and a 4 and 1. 2 and 2 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and 1. 2 and a 3 and 2 and a 3. Make a mistake. Slow down. 2 and a 3. 2 and a 3 and 2 and a 3 and a 4 and 1. 2 and a 3 and a 4 and 1. So I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But you got to stop and go slower, because to do the same thing that created the mistake in the first place, expecting different results is the definition of insanity. That's what Einstein said. So you got to go slower, just like I did. Now I'm going to work going in further back. 1 E and 1 E and 1 E and 2. 1 E and 2 and a 1 E and 2 and a 3. 1 E and 2 and a 3. 1 E and 2 and a 3 E and 1 E and 2 and a 3 E and. Nope. Mistake. 1 E and, so I slowed down, didn't I? 1 E and 2 and a 3 E and a 4 and 1. 1 E and 2 and a 3 E and a 4 and 1. So I'm doing this by memory because I'm not looking at this. It's so much easier when you look at your paper to just work left to right because you're reading music. I'm doing this from memory. But this illustrates the process. So what is the process? Learn 1, then learn 2, then learn 1 to 2, going 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2. Then learn 3, learn 2 to 3, 2 to 3, 2 to 3, 2 to 3. 1 to 2 to 3, 1 to 2 to 3, 1 to 2 to 3. Then learn 4, 3 to 4, 3 to 4, 3 to 4. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Finally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The whole beat will practically be memorized by then. So we'll have other videos on how different ways to learn beats, because some beats are harder than others, but this works for, I think, every beat. So we did right hand bass drum, right hand, left hand bass drum. Then we went cinch to the inch, cinch by the inch, instead of hard by the yard. We went left to right, gradually increasing more and more. This really helps you learn your beats. And when you can see it on paper, it's really a lot easier. Thank God I learned this. Now, this sounds hard because I'm describing it to you. But once you do this, it's so automatic. You don't have to think about it. So again, Right hand plus bass drum. Work that. Right hand plus bass drum. Then left hand and right hand. Right hand, left hand. Okay, so right hand plus bass drum, right hand plus bass, just keep that. Right hand plus left hand, just keep doing that. And then left hand plus bass drum, left hand plus, and memorize that. Put it all together and memorize that. Do the same thing for this. Then put them together, learning how to go from 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2. Then do the same thing for 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. Then finally you get over to 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So I'll have all this down in the description. And, spread this around. Maybe you have some better ideas that you can share down in the comment section, okay? And you can put comments out on the website too. I'll make a link to where this will be. So, praise the Lord. So, make sure you do all your stuff over here on a ride cymbal. But of course you can't have a hi-hat open. You could. 4 and 1 E and 2 and. Right? Well, that's a weird sound. You could use 4 and 4 and instead of 4 and, right? 4 and 4 and 4 and. You could go 4 and. So have some fun with getting this special effect there on the end. Woo, this was a hard beat. Wanted to show you all the possibilities. All right, thanks for hanging in there. God bless you. Bye-bye.